and welcome to the Buckland Select Board meeting of Tuesday, May 28th. It is 5:30 p.m. This meeting is being held in person and also via Zoom. Our first appointment for 5:30 is the Buckland Historic Commission. They are looking for a grant proposal and match request. The Historic Commission is interested in pursuing a designation as a National Historic District for Buckland Center, which would be similar to the existing historic district that includes Chevron Falls. If successful, this would give the town of Buckland 2 historic districts, an unusual recognition. The grant would provide $5,000 towards the cost of a consultant to complete the survey for the structures in the center, but the grant requires an equal local match. Do we have somebody from the Historical Commission?
Should I just speak from here?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. Well, thank you. My name is David Perla. I'm the chair of the Historic Commission. I live at Cross Street in Buckland. We're very pleased to have the opportunity to talk to you today. Especially, I want to thank you for the support that you provided to us a couple of years ago when we applied for a grant from the National Preservation Trust. You contributed, I think, $1,500, and we were able to raise the rest from local donors. And we just finished a project on the early industrial history of Pleasant Brook, including the mill, the old Elmer's Mill. That's the corner of Cross Street. That's our first official submission to the Massachusetts Historical Commission in some 40 years. So we're proud to get that done. And the town has a copy of that report, which I can make available to you as you wish. We currently have, as members of the commission, myself, Mary Dearborn, Pat Schmidt, Sandy Cardinal, Virginia Ray, Holly Anderson, and Michael Custer. And we're asking for Beth Boscom, who is a resident here in Buckland. I don't know if that's come to your attention tonight or at a future meeting. We're going to ask that she also be voted to be a member of the commission.
I believe we actually have her paperwork for tonight.
So we're requesting that she be added. In terms of this year's opportunity, we have been told time and time again by the Massachusetts Historical Commission that Buckland has a lot of wonderful sites, but we haven't done a complete survey. The last papers were filled out in the 70s. And they need to be updated and done by the professional consultant. And as part of doing that work, we intend, with your approval, to pursue a nomination for Buckland Center, which is that upper street, lower street little slice in the valley that encompasses it, as a federal national historic district. We're not looking to put any restrictive covenants on any property owners. It would simply be an honorary recognition, such as Shelby Falls currently has, Asheville Plain, Plainfield, a number of them. So we're just looking at that number. And any financial support, or at least any support verbally from the select board as far as that application is concerned would be gratefully received. So that's basically what I have to add to this list of our report. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So this designation of a historical district wouldn't encumber anybody trying to build or
No, sir.
remodel their homes, or
There is a local district statute that if you pursued that with a vote, 2/3 vote at a town meeting, you could put those kinds of covenants on property owners. No vinyl siding, no hanging your laundry out, any of that stuff. But we're not interested in that. We're interested in doing this solely as an honorary designation from the Federal Department of the Interior, the Park Service, just as they've recognized some of our properties in town currently, places like the Wilder Homestead and the Woodward House, also on Upper Street, Caroline Church, others which are already on the National Register. And we think we have kind of a unique combination of not only the structures themselves, which date to the historic period, but the patterns of land use in the fields that adjoin them in the valley are very representative of the 19th century or even an 18th century land use pattern, which is rare to see that in a circumscribed valley like that. So we think it's worth pursuing.
Are there any other types of grants that you guys can go after that are not a matching grant?
I wish there were. We have been unable to secure funding that did not require a match. I'm always on the outlook for those because obviously that is more advantageous to the members of the community and the town, that we're not constantly looking for additional money for them. We've received some fairly large grants in the past for the work that's been done over at the barn and at the Wilder Homestead. That came from the Massachusetts Cultural Council. That was a $137,000 grant. But that also required a local match. This tends to be the way these things are done. But believe me, if we can find one that we can fit into this box, we will most certainly make every effort.
Right.
I guess my question is, where would we get the money from?
Well, and that's the thing is, you know, we have kind of an account set up for grant funding purposes. And I know that's where we pulled the money from for you guys for last year.
That's correct, sir.
But I don't think we actually have that much money in there right now.
Well, as
I
I
think
say,
we've used some for, you know, because that's what we use for our CDBG grants and things like that to kickstart.
I think that the budget could accommodate a similar amount to what you gave last time. I think it was the $1,500. I think that would be a reasonable amount for this type of project. We certainly don't want to see opportunities go by us. And if there was a commitment that the Historical Commission could continue to fundraise, I know that's a bigger ask than what you did before, and I know that it's the same people that you go to every time. So, you know.
I ain't too proud to beg, as the song. As the song says. So anyway, but you know, whether or not you know it works into the budget that we could receive some funding as we did before, I'm really just here to let you know what we're doing. We don't probably hear from us very often, and you know, just if not with financial support, just that you would support the idea, you know, like a letter of support that we would certainly be asking you. So
I think at this point right now, I think we would certainly wholeheartedly support you guys' endeavor. I think financially we don't have that funding off to the side right now.
I understand.
But, I mean, something certainly maybe in the future that we could come to. Do you guys have an estimate on how much this survey would cost?
The total cost of the survey would be in the $10,000 to $20,000 range.
Okay, so this grant wouldn't be enough anyways to cover it.
Well, the grant will pay 50% up to the $50,000 project.
Right, so we'd have to match half of it.
That, unfortunately.
Right.
Yes.
So, when is the application due, David?
The application, well, there's an application that's coming due next week, but unfortunately, it's from the National Trust again. They are not considered projects for Massachusetts this time, so we're not going to be eligible for that. We're not in their target states. But there will be the annual opportunity with the State Historic Commission, and that is a September 19th deadline.
There might be a better timeline, because right now we're applying for all of our one-stop grants, and we're applying for our ADA grant, and all of those will require matches. And once I go through and sort of see what we need to use for the infrastructure projects that we have in front, I think I'd be in a better position to make a positive recommendation if we come back to this after that. I mean, so this is my grant season too, and I'm furiously writing them away, and that's what that pile of money that's ever shrinking
Still a pile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to at least bring this to your attention.
Yeah, so I think once Heather gets through all of her grant writing processes and everything that we need for construction and all that fun stuff,
Thank you.
she can probably give you a shout and get you back on the docket with us, and we can certainly look at it further from there.
Thank you, I appreciate
All
that.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
So we got about 20 minutes before we do our public hearing for that.
The first public hearing.
Yeah. We'll move on and hit our first, looks like our only agenda item. We have a
This was
volunteer, yep,
Yeah.
a volunteer form for Bethany Ann Bascom of 62 Elm Street. She is looking to join the Buckland Historic Commission. I think Beth would be a great addition to their ever-growing group.
And if you read her, what she wrote here, she certainly was involved with a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So she definitely will be bringing a wealth of knowledge to them. I would accept a motion to accept the volunteer form for Beth Ann Bascom for the Buckland Historical Commission.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Heather disappeared on us. I think we can probably move to the, Heather, do we want to move to the Trowmont Road reconstruction?
Yeah.
We already did
It's
the,
amazing I just brought this right up. Show them on the road, let's do it. So.
She's a mind reader.
It's got the one that's been all over the pages. So, last Thursday, we opened bids for the Charlemont Road Reconstruction Phase 2. We all know that road could use 4 or 5 phases, and we might get to the town line, especially since the cost of the construction is ever increasing. We had 7 bids. You have those bids in front of you. The apparent low bid was originally Clayton D. Davenport Trucking. Unfortunately, there was an error in those bid documents. So upon town council's advice, we would reject that vote. We would reject that bid and award to the second apparent low bidder, which is A. Martins and Sons. I think I've supplied a motion. If you feel that that is the way to go, I would ask that the motion be that you authorize Print to sign it so that I have time to write the members of the award. We just got council's opinion in a couple of moments ago, so.
Have you dealt with Martins before?
They're currently doing it, the freight yard parking lot.
Yes, yes.
And they did depot. And they've done a number of projects in town.
yeah.
I'm happy to go into more specifics about this, or I could read council's.
So is this what are these the numbers that we're looking at here, this
Yeah.
the summary?
Right,
The
so
summary?
we have we received, let me back up. We received $1 million MassWorks strap grant.
Okay.
We have committed a portion of that to the engineering and design. After the engineers take their cut, we are down to about $947,000. I say about, it's more like exactly. the apparent low bid at $927.69.50, including the alternate, but there's an extra portion of road that we were hoping we'd be able to fit in. It looks like we can. As you'll notice, the alternate one price is a little higher than the alternate one price of the second apparent low bid. And that is a result of the first bidder not either understanding or not following the bid instructions, which required that bidders use the same pricing units in the base bid as they do in the adult. The example I like to use is that if in your base bid you're going to charge me $400 for a catch basin, you have to also charge $400 for the same catch basin in the alternate work. Unfortunately, that was not the case in that first apparent low bid, which is why you see the discrepancy there in the pricing. Again, town council, this was a decision that I didn't want to make. It's a lot of money. Certainly two local contractors. I know it's a big deal to get these bids, especially this time of year. So I did not want to make any recommendations without a town council recommendation. And they have weighed in that you should reject the apparent low bid and move forward with the next. And I'm also happy to table this until your June meeting too. I know that this time of year too, getting notice to proceed and getting them to work, I don't want to lose a couple of weeks if I don't have to.
Right.
That's why I'm asking that you authorize Clint to sign the award as opposed to signing it tonight.
Okay.
Did any of that make sense?
It must have been
Okay.
a lot.
It works in my head, but when it comes out of my mouth, I never know if it makes any sense or not.
Well, actually having it right now on paper, as you were explaining it, it made sense to me because I wasn't quite grasping it earlier when you were telling me about it.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How many bids did you get?
7.
7.
What was the highest bid?
Oh, you want to know?
1.28.
So the low bid was $920, high bid was 1.2. So, you've got a big difference.
It's interesting to see what the range is here.
Yes, yes. And I think we opened that one, the one in the middle, 1,092,000 first, and my gut just sank because I knew how much money I had to spend.
Yeah. It's a lot of money, but it's a lot of road too.
Not as much as it
It's still not- it's still not taking us-
used to be.
As far as we,
$1 million used to get you a mile.
yeah, but this will be certainly a good chunk.
That's how much infrastructure you gotta put in underneath the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we're just dealing with drainage up there, so no utilities,
So
but significant drainage.
how much miles, or 1 mile, or?
No, that's a really good question, Joan. I think it's about 3/4. I think we're almost at 3/4 of a mile. I can get you the exact.
No, that's okay. That's fine.
These aren't mile numbers,
so-
Joan, these are feet numbers.
If you, right. If you go to where we've ended, at the end of the pavement now, you're gonna go up and then there's a bend in the road. So where we stopped is just about, at Avery Road, just above there, because there's a culvert that we were able to accomplish, the same culvert that sort of half collapsed a couple of years ago. So we've moved just past that, and this will bring us just up to the bend.
Okay.
Those are technical terms.
Bend.
And around the bend is not. Yeah.
Dina, do you have a sense of anybody's property that could give us a estimate?
Right up by the old oak tree, Dina.
By the
Big rock,
so you're past the boards and the drainages.
Right.
and
It says the road bends. That's fine. That's,
it goes around and up. I'm thinking that it's over just at the top of the hill.
Yeah, that's about where I was thinking too.
That's what I'm
is-
thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
Just past Pajamas.
Motorcycle
Just
drivers.
Just
very
past- yeah,
eager,
yeah.
yeah.
I'll tell you, I look forward to the trail mountain line.
I think you're possibly right, yeah, that's,
Yeah. I have to say, I was outside this weekend, Sunday, and there was a group of cyclists who were hooping and hollering with glee as they came down the hill. You know, because they had struggled on the worst part of it. So,
Okay. I would move to authorize the chair to sign a notice of award to A. Martins and Son Construction for the amount of $931,980.50 for the reconstruction of Trail Mountain Road Phase 2. This includes a base bid of $770,718.50 and an additional alternate bid of $161,262.
All right, second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Still not quite at our 6 o'clock yet. So we'll move on to permits and licenses. We have a curb cut permit for North Street. For Rolf Karlstrom with his welder. It looks like they're trying to add on, while the construction is going on up there, they want to cut in another section of driveway to their residence.
According to this letter, though, it doesn't look like they fulfilled everything they needed to.
Right. So, so this was back in March.
yes.
So is that all done?
Have we taken care of?
Fee, yes.
Okay.
They received the fee, they've also got their diagrams in here too.
Okay.
So this is also, we've sent this off to the engineers that designed the North Street, the Upper North Street project. They're under, they had already looked at it a couple of months ago, but they're gonna give me a letter that I can then give to the contractors, so that it fits in with their plans as well.
Okay. I would make a motion to accept the application for the curb cut permit for Ralph Karlstrom and Kate Fowler for 101 North Street.
no second that.
Further discussion? None, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have our May 14th minutes. Make a motion to approve the minutes for May 14th, 2024 as written. I didn't have any changes for it.
No.
I second that.
Any further discussion? Any changes?
No?
No?
Good job.
Wonderful job as always, man.
As usual.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Payroll warrant. We're making you guys stick it all the way out through our meeting here. We're gonna get everything else
this just
done.
brings back such wonderful memories.
We've got our 24-25 payroll warrant for May 21st. Make a motion to approve the payroll warrant for May
I'll
21st.
second that.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Vendor warrant. Make a motion to approve the accounts payable warrant for May 21st.
I second that.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Just, we're moving too fast here. We're down to our 2 appointments here. Items not reasonably anticipated by chair 48 hours in advance. I have nothing. Any board member concerns?
I was just wondering, what are we gonna do with the rest of the junk in the police station?
That's a good question. Yeah, we'll have to dispose of it. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
You need help, let me know.
Yeah, there's a significant amount of scrap metal that we'll deal with first.
Okay.
Yeah, I've talked to Jake and Anthony, and we've got a plan, so.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about those tables, okay?
Okay.
But if you need help, let me know.
The town administrator has an unanticipated item. Will you entertain it? It'd take 2 seconds.
I guess. She was actually telling me we're going to, not that.
She says it's a nicely.
That's right.
Stretch it out for 5 minutes.
No, I can't do, well, I can stretch anything out for 5 minutes, but I won't. About a year or so ago, a volunteer with some great artistic skills painted the electrical box here at the top of Conway, at the intersection of State and Conway. There is a second electrical box a little further down Conway, also owned by the town. It would be just past where the Pocket Park is and just in front of where the quilt shop is, if you can visualize it. The same volunteer would like your permission, your blessing to paint that and make that look a little bit more Shelburne Fallsy.
What is the subject matter going to be?
I think it's the same as, it's an abstract.
Okay.
Any objections to that?
I have none.
Good. I mean, certainly anything would be an improvement over what it looks like now, so.
Gray box.
Is there a preference to a theme? I'm sure that they'd be
No
willing to.
clowns, no clowns.
No clowns. Okay, fair enough.
Flowers, you could do flowers.
Okay.
Flowers are always
Okay.
great.
You were talking about the police station down there. Does anybody realize that the window in the gable end on this end, it's been open for over a month?
It's been open for several years, but it's not, it's not technically open. There's a screen that you can't actually see from the outside, and I can truthfully attest to that because I've spent enough time in that attic over the past few weeks. It doesn't look, because I would have said the same thing from the outside. It looks like it's just wide open, but there's a screen, so, thank you, though. Okay. Anything else?
I got a couple more comments to make at some point.
All right, Heather, we got 3 minutes. You want to bring through your town administrator's report, or you need more time than that?
Actually, I don't think so. This could fit both under volunteer recognition or town administrator's report, so we'll just acknowledge it in both ways. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but just in front of the town hall, there's a new planting that is around the tree with the fencing that matches the fencing that is in front of the McCusker's Market. And there's a bird bath and flowers, and it looks absolutely lovely. That was the initiative of Julie Petty, and she gave us kind of an update of how it came together. It was 3 buckets of soil from the Bridge of Flowers, a seriously broken ceramic bird bath that the Farm and Garden donated, a very ugly white plastic container that was $19 and also donated from the Farm and Garden because it was ugly and dirty. 1 can of flat black paint that was $6. They're going to drop it off because we purchased, we didn't get it donated, a similar planter that will paint and have us on. Some annuals donated by the Village of Flowers, perennials that were native, donations from Polly French, Mara Silver, and from Julie Petty. A bag of 3 cubic feet of mulch, $8 from Farm and Garden, and a very cute fence that was built by Dave Redding. And They're saying that none of these people have come forward asking for public acknowledgement, but it's just one really small but very special thing that I think is so indicative of what the village and Buckland is all about. And this is a good opportunity, especially with so many people here, to hear that. Real quick, Conway, the Conway Street sidewalk. Is there a drum roll? There should be some actual construction improvement on that sidewalk starting in about 2 weeks.
So the jury barriers go away.
I mean, unless somebody really likes them.
The aesthetics is
No,
not
but,
what you want.
the project has been approved by DOT in Boston. The funding has been allocated and is not coming from the town. And the shop drawings are with the engineers, and they've acknowledged that they're ready to sign off. And the contractor is gearing up to mobilize and get that done. Don't expect it to be a fast project because they anticipate being able to do about 100 feet every couple of weeks. So it's going to be a long summer, but at least it'll be progress, and we don't have to figure out how to shovel it again next winter. So that we are in a pause on Upper North Street. The contractor has removed their operations from Upper North for about a month, and then they'll be back to do the milling and the sidewalk there. So there's a nice reprieve. We've notified the post office so that the mail delivery can continue again for a few weeks, because those residents have been having their mail held. So other than those, I think those are the only two projects anybody cares about. So.
Is that going to be doing Conway Street again?
Yes, yeah. They won't be subbing out the fix. So yes, it'll be their actual crew.
Yeah, that was a battle with the state. That Heather and I took on, and that lasted what, about 10 months?
Well, yeah.
Trying to figure out who was
that I have recollection of.
who was paying for everything else, and we finally got that notice from them because myself and Heather dug our heels in. So.
We had a couple pairs of good shoes.
I know.
Well, thank you both.
It's all right. Summer's coming though, so it must be BOGO season.
It is.
All right. So we are 2 minutes past now, Heather, you went beyond. But we will move on to our 6 o'clock appointment. We have the CDBG public hearing for Depot Street and the Freight Yard. The Town of Buckland will hold a public hearing Tuesday, May 28th at 6 p.m. Here at the Town Hall on the second floor. The hearing is in person or via Zoom. The hearing will receive input on the accomplishments of the Buckland's fiscal year 22-23 Community Development Block Grant. Projects undertaken with this grant are improvements to Depot Street and the Freight Yard parking lot, as well as support of the West County Emergency Food Pantry. This hearing will also discuss the reprogramming of up to $325,000 in surplus grant funds from the town's fiscal year 22-23 CDBG to the Bridge of Flowers Structural Improvement Project. Any agency or individual who wishes to be heard on this matter will be given the opportunity. In addition, comments in writing or by email to Heather Butler will be accepted prior to the hearing. Special accommodation will be attempted upon written request within 7 days prior notice to the town administrator. Hello?
Hello. Thank you. This hearing is required as part of the grant the town received. The town applied for these.
Excuse me, could you tell us who you are?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name's Linda Overing, and I'm community CDBG consultant for the town of Buckland.
Thank you.
Manage the grant.
She's our grant lady,
Grant lady, okay.
and she's fantastic at it.
So we applied for these two projects, an roadway improvement project that proposed at Depot Street and the Freight Yard parking lot, as well as supported the West County Emergency Food Pantry in March of 2023. It was an unusual year in that the CDBG folks in Boston had more money available than usual for a single grant because they didn't have applications for their FY22 money because of COVID-related issues. So they combined it. It was one grant cycle. We were eligible to apply for $1.35 million that year. We were successful. We applied for $1.318714 million and received all of it to fund those projects. We heard in July. We subsequently went out. We had already contracted GCG Associates to be engineer for the project. They were responsible for the design, and they helped us put a bid out in early January. We awarded it to E. Martins and Son, and I guess early February, started construction in April, and they've been up there pretty much for all of April through and May. So it's a good time to discuss that project. We also had a contract with the Community Action of Pioneer Valley to operate the West County Emergency Food Pantry, as they have for a number of years out of the Kyle Gym site in Shelburne. And so I've asked both the principal people involved in that project to come and report to you tonight about what's been happening. And I was hoping we could maybe start with the food pantry, since I think Chio is joining us remotely via Zoom.
Yep.
You might be able to provide an update.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, everything is very unstable, so I'm cutting out here and there, but here's a report for you. My name is Joe Ramos, set up Suffolk Line Food Pantry and the West County Emergency Food Pantry. So the period from 10/6/30/25, we have served 52 residents, and that goes through 3/31/22, 2 quarters. The average distribution for the meal per month were 26 meals per family, or per person, sorry. West County Emergency Food Pantry has distributed 25,180 pounds of food to date, which is 12.6 tons. During FY 2020 contracted, including 7,941 pounds of fresh produce. Fresh produce is 32% of our overall distribution. So far, we have made 21 deliveries to 4 households. We deliver to Buckland, and Shelburne, Greenfield, and Mountain View residents on a weekly basis. They can request deliveries online, by the phone, and they can come in and say, can you please deliver a box to our home, and we will do that. The pantry is open every Wednesday from 11 to 3:30. Participants are welcome to come twice per month for groceries and every week for fresh produce. From 10/1/22 to 9/30/23, West County Food Pantry has served 323 individuals, and overall both pantries locations served in Franklin County is 3,272 Franklin residents. So that's the update. Any questions?
No, I don't.
It's a lot of people, a lot of food.
Yeah.
Is this an increase over prior years?
One of the questions is it a increase over the prior years?
It has been increases ever since they've taken all of the COVID money away from the participants. We are starting to see the new participants show up that we've never seen before. And we do have some participants that do come from, that goes from Buckland and Shelburne down to Greenfield too. So, we have access to both ends. Anybody from Shelburne Falls and Buckland, and actually West County.
Do you have a percentage on the number of new families or new people?
Do not have that right now, I can get that for you guys if you need it.
That was
You can
just,
email me.
that was just a curiosity question, so, no stress.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you guys are doing a fantastic job up there, Chio. And thank you for everything that you guys are doing. And
Thank you for the great space.
Yeah,
That's what
we're,
I enjoyed it. You guys got a great space and you have a lot of, teachers that I really enjoyed coming down and helping out, so.
Good.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you, Gio. And then I'll turn the next part of the meeting over to Mike Carter from GCG Associates.
Good evening, Mike Carter from GCG. So we're the engineer for the project. Just to give you an update, as you probably can see, we've completed the binder coat of pavement, utility work, the sidewalks are in, and the drainage is in. We actually found a 2x2 culvert, which we knew there was some sort of drain going underneath Depot Street that goes out into Conway Street where the icing problem occurs all the time.
Yeah.
So what we did, just so, because I remember that was a big issue, is, fingers crossed, we're taking care of it. So we actually replaced it was a 2x2 stone culvert underneath Depot Street. We replaced it under the entire length of the pavement. There's now a catch basin right there. So if anyone ever has to do anything with it in the future, you have access to it and you know where it is. And then we ran a pipe from the bottom of the wall to a catch basin that was installed during the Conway Street project. So that should take care of the icing problem.
Dan Bauer will be pleased, believe me. Doing a cool job, yeah.
So that should be hopefully all set. Going up the road, as I said, the paved roadway's in. One of the signs is in. At this point, if it's stopped, trying to say do not enter coming down because we converted that to one way. It's not completed yet. The final coat of pavement is scheduled for the first week or second week in August. The reasoning being is I want the utilities to settle. In particular, we put a big underground infiltration system in the parking lot up there. It was about 80 by 100, so it was pretty significant. It collects the water, recharges it into the ground. The contractor has indicated that he's going to come out and do some temporary striping because it'll be left unstriped for a couple of weeks. It won't be a formal line stripe, it'll just be you take a marking can of white paint and you just mark 8 feet, 8 feet, so people will see, to kind of guide them, because right now you drive in there, it's just a big paved area.
it's a free-for-all.
It's a free-for-all, exactly. We're working on some of the signage with the trolley museum and making sure that people will understand that it's no longer a two-way street. Once we put the parking in and there's cars there, they'll figure it out real quick because it'll be a lot narrower.
A couple accidents, they'll have it.
I noticed that when you go up Depot, you have the sign, no parking on the street, but I noticed people are parking lower in
Yeah.
Ashfield, and that, with the sidewalk there, there's no space.
The striping, so it's difficult right now, you're absolutely right. Some of those signs will come out, so there'll be new signs going in.
Right.
Going up Depot Street on the right, where we have parking that's going in, there's a sign that says no parking there. That, when we get to that point, we'll do that, which is within the next 30 days.
So there'd be one coming all the way down to the corner?
Well, that's what I'm
down to the
talking about,
intersection?
Oh, down in the corner?
Yeah.
We're going to have, there will be no parking signs, yes, there. But we're going to have, I think we're keeping 2 spots that were there originally, I think, if I remember correctly.
On Ashfield Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's at the bottom
Yeah.
too, we did, yes.
Yeah.
That's not gonna be confusing to people?
It's,
It's done to confuse you.
so we eliminate, where you come down, where you go up Depot Street, we eliminated a couple of them, but we're going to leave the couple that were there before. And so, the sidewalk comes down and it just dives right down at the end of Ashfield Street. There's not a ADA panel there that you would typically see because the street itself is not even close, you can't make it ADA compliant. So that's, if someone wants to know why didn't we put a panel there, that's why. We don't want to give anyone the impression that it's ADA compliant. That's just how we terminated it. There is conduits, there'll be a new street light that goes up at the top. That's, if you drive up there, you might see this concrete pedestal. That's where the new street light will go. It'll match, it's going to match what you have here. The electrical is run underground for it. And then also there's electrical conduits underground, the parking lot over towards the railroad tracks, which are set up for future electrical charging stations, which, when they come, so we don't have to dig the parking lot up, let's put it that way.
Yeah, right now, at the end of Depot Street, the intersection of Conway and State, there's a stop sign so that people going down. And I'm just wondering what you're going to do with that, because if you keep it there, then somebody at the top of Depot who has somehow missed the signs that say one way, only do not enter, they'll see the stop sign at the end and think, okay, I can go down here because there's a stop sign. But if you remove the stop sign, then the people who are still going on autopilot will think they've got the right of way. So it just feels like a very challenging
Weren't we going to put a crosswalk there to, right at the very end of where the Riverwalk ends, sort of going over to Ashfield Street?
Well, that's where I said that the walkway dives down the pitch.
Because of the pitch, okay.
We really can't stripe it because it's, the road, you're supposed to have a 2% cross slope for
Yeah.
ADA compliance, and the road is like a 4% there. So I think we're gonna take that stop sign out.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking of, just so everybody knows, of adding if you go through the parking lot and you wanted to go down Depot Street, right now there's this temporary sign there, there's two signs, one on the ground and one up on a post that say do not enter, but I think it'd be better if we put a no left turn sign right as if you come through the parking lot, you're going across the tracks and you see a sign that says no left turn. That's probably, from a visual standpoint, that's what a driver's gonna see, whereas the do not enter is kind of off to your left and you don't really see it till you turn.
Very good.
And then I know we're working with Sam from the Trolley Museum to coordinate signage for his railroad tracks and striping on both sides of the tracks. We've been working with him pretty closely. So I don't have all the signs. It's a little different than what we had before, but it's more what we're learning as we, okay. Because I walked up there tonight, and sure enough, I was crossing that crosswalk at the top of the hill, and someone just came right down and went down the wrong way. Just had a habit, didn't think anything of it. So it's going to be a learning curve.
So that actually is a very dangerous intersection, and I'm just wondering, given the changes that are happening, how are we going to be monitoring that? Not just from the new one-way, but it's already a dangerous intersection.
So I think that'll be something where the police department will be responsible for monitoring. And usually they're pretty good about when, new pavement goes in or new signs go up or things like that. They do try to increase presence there so that people do pay attention to the new signage and everything else. But that'll be a question for Chief Birdwell on that aspect of it.
Okay, so could we ask him that question? And the reason I'm asking is I live on Sears, and the coming off Clement, especially in the wintertime, is really difficult because people don't actually know how to drive that intersection. and you can't see to turn left on State Street. So with this change, I mean, it's not wintertime, but I'm just saying, it's a whole new year cycle.
Right.
And that is already a very problematic intersection.
So you're talking down here at Clement and State Street and the bottom of Ashfield Street?
Yeah, because that feeds into two stop signs.
With the bump out, that would be nice if it wasn't a bump out. Yeah.
Right, so if we could just look at the whole system of the traffic flow there and not just the stop sign coming down from what used to be to whatever it's going to be now, that would be really helpful.
It's not that. You come down, Cheryl, you come down Clemens, and that's where the problem is. It's the bump out that was put there that really, is.
Well, no, it was
is
problematic
a lot, but-
before the
Well,
bump out was
not
put
as
there.
much, because you could see. Now to get out of Clemens Street, you've got to really take your life in your own hands. That's hard. I understand.
Right, so given that that's a reality,
Yeah.
could we do something about that reality?
We'll talk to Chief Bardwell and see what the police can do about it. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit of patrolling now and then, and when we put these two stop signs in here, to allow people a second to get off the bridge. There was a cruiser here. I don't think he ticketed anyone. I think he just warned and see if he
See,
changed
I'm
it.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not talking about police presence. I'm talking about, because the police can't be there all the time.
No.
I'm talking about lines of sight and how fast people drive, and being able to come into an intersection where people actually know how to drive, who has the right of way, and how to get in and how to get out, especially with all the illegal U-turns that happen down there as well. So what I'm saying, it's a problematic intersection. Since we're talking about a stop sign, I thought I would take the opportunity to bring the whole system of a problem to your attention. So, thank you.
I'm very well aware of it because, you know, I turn off of Clement Street every day, and it is sketchy at most, especially during busy times. You know, I mean, a lot of it just comes down to, most of it is enforcement, really. You know, and it's hard because, I mean, I'd be sitting here at the bridge waiting to turn off and watching people driving through this stop sign right here. And they just keep driving, and, you know, if you've got a line of 5 to 6 cars doing the same thing, now you're binding up all the other intersections. So, you know, I think it's definitely, I'm not quite sure how we'd fix it. I guess would be,
Meeting the problem
Yeah.
is a really good way to start.
mm-hmm,
So thank you.
yeah, yep. So, yeah, it's not just you. I think it's everybody that has that same concern and issue, you know. A lot of people could use some extra driving lessons.
Regarding the Depot Street thing, I'm just wondering if it's possible to actually paint the direction on the road to help inform people instead of just waiting. It would mean that as they drove up Depot Road, they would see the sign that says this is one, you know, the arrow on the road, and it would be another visual cue when people were leaving the Salmon Falls parking lot thinking that they could turn left. You've got the sandwich board there and another sign, but, and I know that you're planning to repave later after things have settled, but in this period now is when it's actually the biggest change. So having an arrow pointing would be perhaps a useful strategy.
Good suggestion.
One way's going up Depot Street.
Right, so we do, that's a very good point. We do have on the final, we are painting arrows at the bottom and the top one way. But I think you make a really valid point, maybe we do that now. Because when we go to put these signs in, but at the same time, put the temporary striping, temporary parking lot striping, and we'll make sure we'll have some sort of arrow. It may not be the final arrow, but
Good idea. Thank you.
Just train people.
that's all this is.
Very nice.
If you do that, then at the top of Depot Street, you'll have to be also careful that you make it clear that people can still go left at the top of Depot to go to the museum, as well as to go right to get into the Salmon Falls Market parking lot.
So we have the arrow that goes that way.
Yeah, so that's what we're working with on.
With that.
Any other questions?
This is perfect.
What's that? Yep, we haven't got there yet.
Okay, all right. That was
All right, I think we can move on to the next portion. All right.
So the next portion mentions the potential possibility of reprogramming surplus funds to the Bridge of Flowers project. That is, we're not going to be requesting that. That's not required by the Bridge of Flowers Committee. This ad copy went in almost a month ago, and at that point, the committee was looking for all sorts of other resources. We determined that if we added CDBG dollars to that, the requirements would be added to how long, it would take at least 2 months for that money to be available to them.
Yeah.
Would delay their being able to start construction this year, which is the whole point. We want to do it now and hopefully finish it before fall. So they decided to proceed without these funds. So we would ask that we pass over that particular action tonight.
Okay. Do we have any other purposes that we could be looking at with this money at this point?
We certainly we don't have any right at hand, so we'd come back to you to discuss some other options.
Heather didn't like my comment. Well, Heather didn't like my comment. I told her we'll give it all to the food pantry.
That would be preferable than giving it back, for sure. But Linda and I can continue to brainstorm, and I bring her ideas, and she says that's not a great one, or that doesn't meet the eligibility.
The good news is we have more than a year left on this grant. So it's not like next month if we don't use it, it's gone.
There's all of Charlemont Road.
See, that's where we get into the eligibility issue, and I do. I've got a list a mile and a half
That actually
long.
came up, Sue.
But Linda and I will continue to strategize, and we'll bring back some ideas,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Unfortunately, with CDBG money, there's only certain things that the money can be allocated for. So that's one of the big reasons that we're running into at this point. Okay, so we're tabling that at this point, and hopefully sometime in the near future we'll be able to have something good to do with that money. All right. Is that all we had for?
That's it, it's really the purpose of the hearing is to hear input.
Okay. Is there any other community input for this public hearing? Hearing none, I will move to close the public hearing for the CDBG projects.
I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a collection.
All right. So, now we have,
There's seats over here. No, come on.
She's so shy.
so we now have our notice of award for the police station building, the disposition of our RFP. This here is going to be the award night. We will not be doing any public comment on this. We've had several meetings in the past to take in public comment, as well as we've had committees and everything else. So tonight is just for the award for it. All right. Would anyone like to go first?
I'd like to go first.
Okay.
Bear with me, I wrote this down so I wouldn't be babbling on, so anyway. Tonight, my colleagues and I will complete the task voters at the November special town meeting gave us concerning the sale of the former police station. We have 3 bid proposals to consider: Community Health Center of Franklin County, JPH Building, and Great River Hydro. In my mind, the top contenders are the Community Health Center and JPH. The Community Health Center proposes having a satellite office to expand services to West County. I want to disclose I am a patient, but I haven't minded the 18-minute drive to Greenfield. I actually timed it the other day. Town council says I can vote because I don't have a financial interest. I'm aware Dr. Richard Warner hopes to soon retire. However, the Community Health Center's proposal would not be a fast solution, given it wouldn't close on the property until November 1st. Then it would have to secure money for improving the building and afterward undertake renovations. The Community Health Center bid the minimum of $325,000, and as a nonprofit, noted it would not pay taxes nor offer to make payments in lieu of taxes. JPH Building, based in Buckland, is a general contractor specializing in quality residential building. The company proposes using half of the former police station for its offices, since its current location on William Street is being renovated for rentals, including short-term plus office space. As Jay Harmon, one of the owners, explained at the April 23rd Select Board meeting, the police station would be divided vertically. JPH would use one side, the other would have office space that could be rented. At the same meeting, Jay said JPH would be willing to have the Community Health Center rent half of the building, which is about 2,800 square feet. However, Allison Van de Velden, the health center's CEO, explained that would not be enough space. JPH Building bid $350,000 and could close soon on the property. It would pay property taxes. My decision on the former police station comes down to which proposal would be the most beneficial to Buckland. As a town official, I have to recognize Buckland needs all the income it can get. The estimate we receive for the building in its current condition is around $7,400 in property taxes. That amount might rise to $10,500 or more after it has been renovated. In terms of new growth, sale of the police station to a tax-paying business would add $421,400 in the first year, and perhaps an additional $200,000 in the next. I've seen in Western Mass and other states where a nonprofit obtains a property in a town or a city but doesn't pay property taxes or offer a payment in lieu of taxes, yet it benefits from the services such as road maintenance, police, and fire that we taxpayers must shoulder. In addition, many don't directly contribute to the community. That is unfortunate. In case you're wondering, Buckland has a number of nonprofits that don't pay property taxes. The amounts each doesn't pay range from $165 a year to $42,149 a year. However, the sale of the former police station isn't a situation where a nonprofit would take a property off the tax rolls. No property taxes have been collected from the former police station since the town bought it in 2003 from a previous entity of Great River Hydro. Also, the Community Health Center of Franklin County definitely would offer direct services to the residents of Buckland, as well as our neighboring communities, including sliding scale fees for those with limited means. And that is why I'm casting my vote to support the Community Health Center of Franklin County's proposal to purchase the former police station.
There we go. Okay. I'm Larry Wallace, Select Board Vice Chair. I would like you to know that my decision as to whose proposal should be accepted for the purchase of the former police station was not easy and done with absolute respect towards the supporters of the Community Health Center and those supporters of JP. Any decision made by the Select Board will make some people a little bit happy and other people a little bit not happy. So, but both proposals offer something needed by the citizens of Buckland. During the Select Board last meeting with J.P. Hillman and the CEO of the Community Health Center, I tried to propose a win-win proposal for the town of Buckland. JPH's proposal represents the highest bid with the most thorough presentation illustrating their plan for the revitalization of the former police station. His plan calls for 8 offices available to be rented out. This is a need in Buckland, as we found out, as office space in Buckland are being utilized. The mill even has a waiting list of potential renters. So, as I previously stated, I thought I had a win-win proposal as I asked Mr. Hillman, if your proposal was the one accepted, would you consider offering office space for a community health center to rent? Mr. Hillman responded he definitely would be willing to rent to a community health center. He felt a community health center would be an excellent tenant to rent to. He offered half of the main floor, as the other half would serve as his company offices, and half of the bottom floor, as the other half would serve as his storage and work area. He also stated he would be willing to renovate the space with what maybe the health center needed, like water. This appeared to be a wonderful concession by Mr. Hillman and a win-win for all, especially the citizens of Buckland. We would have new economic growth provided by the Hillman proposal in the form of putting the building back onto our tax books, not to mention an additional $25,000 for our town coffers due to his highest bid. While I was hopefully anticipating a response of generosity for the offer, Ms. Allison van der Velden, the CEO, stated that she wanted the entire main floor. My heart sank as Mr. Hillman reiterated that his offer was for half of the main floor and half of the bottom floor, and he was sorry it could not work out. I was too. As Allison continued, it appeared to me that there were many pragmatic issues for the health center anyways. She stated if the health center proposal is accepted, the closing date would be until November 1st. Leaving 5 months to continue, as she said, her exploration of alternate sites, and could maybe even opt out at any one site if there was one site was more conducive to their needs, if it should come about. Also, funding for improvements to make the building acceptable for the center is based upon grants and could take considerable time. If I heard right, if the grants are offered, it could take time to begin renovations to the building. It could possibly take up to a year or longer to have the center up and running. Also, given the fact that there are, we're all aware of it, medical staffing issues everywhere, especially in smaller rural communities, my confidence in the health center being able to attract necessary medical staff, especially on a long-term basis, is grim. In conclusion, I felt the best proposal for the town would be to award the winning bid to J.P. Hillman with one serious concerned answer unanswered. Since CHCFC is a non-profit organization and wouldn't be paying Buckland real estate taxes, why didn't they prepare a higher purchase price in lieu of not paying taxes, keeping in mind the needs of the town? Their proposal was the lowest bid and the minimum amount required to submit a bill. So you can see I'm supporting bid going to Mr. Hillman.
Over my past 3 years on the select board, there have been many challenges. I've enjoyed learning and working my way through each process with both the town administrator, other board members, and the members of the community. As such, we make decisions based on a process. Sometimes those decisions are made easily, while some require doing some extra research. Some required relying on the knowledge of others to help guide me. At the end of the day, I had one goal: to take the knowledge that I have from growing up and being part of the Buckland community for over 40 years. With all the things that I've learned and worked through these past years, I never imagined selling a piece of property would be the hardest challenge that I would face. From the day of the special town meeting, when the residents granted the board permission to move forward with selling the police station, there was interest in the property, not only from businesses, but from residents as well. From public hearings, emails, phone calls, seeing people on the streets. It seemed that many people in town had some form of interest of how the building should end up. I had hoped that the public interest would be enough to help me figure out the best course of action to take when making my decision on this property. I felt the amount of feedback that was being generated, this should make the decision easy, but was I wrong? When the committee first met to go through all the bids and discuss each one, everyone in the group did their due diligence when reviewing each RFP. At the end of the first meeting, I think the group was torn on how to proceed because we felt that we had two very strong options. We as a group hoped that maybe we could get the best of both worlds, where possibly everyone could win, and once again make our decision easier. Again, I was wrong. But being able to ask more questions in an open meeting with two of the candidates was certainly helpful. This brought the committee back to another meeting to discuss our options further. I was hoping that there would be overwhelming support one way or the other to help sway my decision. As it turned out, much of the group was in the same position that I was. A couple holding tight one way, a couple the other, the rest stuck in the middle of a hard choice. The only full agreement from the entire committee was that they were glad they were not the ones to make the final decision and stamp their name to it. For that moment in time, I envied them. I received many more emails, phone calls, along with conversations on the street. I've weighed pros and cons to both sides, taking in all the information provided to me by residents, filtering out untruths and fancy worded emails, and focusing on facts provided and observed. As I've said throughout this statement, this has been the most difficult decision that I have had to make since being on the board due to the overwhelming interest in the sale of this building. However, I believe that my decision has to be made based on the financial resiliency of this community. Though I am not opposed to a community health center in Buckland, I believe that awarding the RFP to JPH Construction is the best interest of the town of Buckland and its taxpayers, as it would immediately place the building on the tax roll. Thank you.
I'm hoping maybe somebody could get the health center to reconsider the offer by Mr. Hillman, maybe. It's not feasible. I understand. I was hoping for the best for everyone.
We'll never get licensed.
Okay. I will move into a motion to accept the offer to JPH Construction.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
2 yeas, 1 nay. Mary? Motion passes.
So the next steps will be to,
Yep. We're good.
the next steps would be for the town to move to a purchase and sale agreement. We'll work with town council, to get that going as soon as possible. And with any luck, we'll be able to accomplish this in the next month or so, so that we can capture that in our FY25 new growth.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
You too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's why you get the big money.
It ain't worth it sometimes. And tonight was one of those nights. Public comment?
I was just expecting that.
I'd like to make a comment, but not to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I noticed that there's several surface sewers on Elm Street that are subsiding greatly. They've gone down about 4 inches since last fall. They're being repaired. And the other thing is, I'm wondering when they're gonna clear the jungle out from encroaching on the roadway. In a lot of places, especially on Elm Street, it's coming right out into the road.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to about 8 feet, it's coming out somewhat, then above 8 feet, it's really coming out in the road. And as far as I know, that it's supposed to be clear at 14 feet above the roadway.
You're talking about down on Elm, just past my house, going down here.
That's one of the places.
Yeah,
That's not the
that's
only
been deemed, I don't know how, if it is as a wildlife sanctuary.
It's
you
got
know,
nothing to do with what the town.
I know. Last year I had them, I was able to get them and they went up and cut it back 6 feet into that land. That way, I don't know what came out of that, if they.
I didn't see where anything was cut back 6
So,
feet.
I believe right now, I think they're working on some culvert issues or some drainage issues that we've had in town.
Yeah.
After that, because they're using that machine, after that, I think they're gonna be flipping over and
The other
starting
thing
mowing.
is that there's some culverts that are blocked on the inlet side.
Mm-hmm.
There, I told him about one of them, he took care of one of them, I told him I don't know, and he hasn't done anything.
Is that maybe the culvert that is in dire need of repair? That needs to be replaced?
No, it's a different one.
Okay.
So you can imagine Elm Street, one of the many roads, and they are working, they had a complete washout on East Buckland Road today that they've spent all day on.
Yeah, okay, well,
So, I mean,
I just, thing is, it hasn't been addressed, the vegetation issue hasn't been addressed in the last 5 years.
Okay.
So I figure it's time to get something done.
yeah, no,
That's all.
thank you for bringing it to our attention. I can assure you that these are the 5 hardest working guys we've ever had.
We used to have a gentleman, they paid out Lively, in fact, from Conway, used to come and he used to clear both sides and cut back the road.
I had a guy come the last couple of years, but he just cut a little bit.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, that
he
was-
didn't do a very good
No,
job.
he wasn't used to that. He was he doesn't want to do it again.
That had the right kind of equipment.
Yeah, I think you're right, Al.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can leave that open.
Further public comment? Hearing none. Announcements and upcoming meetings. I believe our next meeting is
June 11th.
June 11th.
Can you believe it?
No. What's our other June meeting?
John, I'm gonna close it just, I can't.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
So we have June 11th and June
25th?
25th.
That sounds good.
Both meetings will be at 5:30 here at the town hall. And whether-
Did I put on there the election? Don't forget,
Oh, yes, we have
June,
annual town elections on June 4th. Those are, polls open at what, 10?
yes,
Polls open at 10 until 8 p.m.
yes.
10 to 8, June 4th. So that is our next one.
Should be closed race up until probably 7:30 that night.
Right. So, all right, that is all I have. I would make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you and have a good evening.